Oh, hey, didn't see you come in there. Welcome to Streaming Rainbow. My name's David Robles, and we just happen to be running another episode of our hit show, Viral, to speak into existence. Yeah, why not? Dead Ass, David's Adventure Time, the Strahd story. My name, like I said, is David Robles. I'll be your GM, DM, Dungeon Daddy, Vampire Daddy, werewolves, the whole dire wolves, the whole thing. I'm all the bad guys, and not a bad guy, but looking spooky. One of my fellow DMs at Streaming Rainbow, as we are a collective. Laura, as the ever holy Mavic. Below her is another Streaming Rainbow founding member, our font of wisdom and knowledge, all the way from day one AD&D, Sarah playing Frontal. We have as well 2 guest players we are so happy could join us, and that is Courtney playing the well-positioned, not at all spoiled or privileged patients, and the luckiest man in Barovia, Oddwood, played by Bastion. You can find tags, pages, all that for our wonderful guests in the show notes, and if they really want to, they can put them on their thing. I can't control you. In fact, I'll encourage you to do it. Yeah, and you will also find there links to Streaming Rainbow social media. We've got a link tree. We're legit. We've got a Discord. That's how I met Courtney, on Discord, and now she's here playing. So that could
could be you.
Yeah, get in the Discord.
Preferably American though. Just kidding. I'm fine with Canadians. Also, but I prefer Brazilians for sure, or any South American, as well as European, Eastern European, African, Asian, South Asian, all above the Canadians.
That's a lot of information about your personal grooming I didn't want to know.
I was gonna say, like, where do you get waxed? That's a wide variety.
Yeah. We're multi...
Cost of Brazilian dollars.
Oh, that's good. Sarah's clearly the funny one. That's why I'm running the horror campaign. Anyways, click all those links, please. And if you like this, episode 4, hopefully you're subscribed up. You get notifications for when this goes live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm Ron Burgundy. No teleprompter here, people. Okay, and I think that's like the important stuff. Now to the fun stuff. Last we left off, our spooky kids were traveling the roads of Barovia. They had their Visanti guide, who is taking them through the mists towards the Tesser Pools, which is all the way up here in the northwestern portion of our map. They didn't really leave camp in good spirits. After probably the first time in her life where she didn't feel in control of the social situation, and had a bit of a breakdown upon realizing how alone she truly is and how little she knows. Patience was not in the brightest of spirits. Oddwood, helpful as ever, was patrolling all night. And we'll get back to what he found in the morning. But along his patrol and in a little bit of his musings, he had a really good conversation and felt like he's really connecting with himself or not himself, or the symbiotic being that sort of holds his innards together, and also some loose plates of metal that acts as armor, ink. And they reached a new level of camaraderie, even though they've been together for, what, about 2 years now, right?
About 2 years, yeah.
Yeah. Kruntel had a great night of sleep. Just like looted the body of his enemies, which was tight. Always a great feeling. And then had sweet dreams with cradling a giant sack of gold that he lifted off people. Chaos is a ladder, folks, and Kruntel's a really good climber. Mavic made a new friend. Allie, you're like god pals, priest pals. Not like the kind in the Catholic Church. Shocked at me? You should be shocked at the Catholic Church.
I'm always shocked at the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Always.
Had a really good talk with Allie. Tried to show them, maybe a little unsuccessfully, only a couple years into their. Hey, that's funny. It's about 2 years too that Mavic's been in society, so isn't the best. It's a weird coincidence. I'm sure that's not going to come up later. Mavic's not quite good at nonverbal communication, so Allie.
You can't read my face. I'm smiling right now.
Maybe chat it up. I've never been happier than I am in this moment. Mavic couldn't quite get the message across to Allie that maybe she doesn't need to be so loud about what she plans to do. And then on his way back to his friends in the tent, after his heart-to-heart, if ink can be said to have one.
He has mine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Who needs a heart?
Spirit.
You can leech
He
off.
physically pumps it to keep me alive.
It's true.
New T-shirt. Ink is my co-pilot.
Bastion found signs of a struggle, some blood. Being the smart boy he is, he tracked down the trail to the stage at the center of camp, where he found what I believe was called a totem of gore.
100%.
That was included Allie's mace, her head spiked on top of it, with the symbol of Pelor in her mouth, and her traveling companion Atticus's hands splayed out to the side.
Has haunted all of us.
Eternal jazz hands.
Yes, they were.
He died doing what he loved. Jazz hands.
Leaving no tragedy unwasted. Kruntel searched their tent, and in a truly shocking move, Sarah stole it, and I was forced to come up immediately with a magic item to reward that.
Welcome to DMing.
Yeah, man.
By the way, if you haven't heard it enough, this is my first campaign I'm DMing, so I'm learning a lot, both about my friends and about this game.
And we are so proud of him. He's
Yeah.
doing such a good job.
Thank you. Everybody shut up and stop observing me now.
We love you. You're so good.
I love you too. Please stop talking. So anyways, the gang, but more importantly, Kruntel found years of research that it looks like Atticus did in his prep to entering Barovia. And it seems like whenever they get a chance to sit down and go through it and really get into it, Kruntel's going to have quite a bit of information to share. Okay. And then we were all coming along the road, headed to the Tesser Falls, and it's where this like mysterious Madame Ava, who seems to be the center point of the anti-Strahd Democratic Union of Visanti and others, or whatever the name of the organization is called. And along that way, Ink, with his newfound respect for his host body, decided to share a secret he'd been sitting on for 2 years, that he actually witnessed Oddwood die, which he really would have had to get there in time to even put his body back together, because when he died and was ripped to shreds, he was ripped to shreds by none other than Mavic. And in a moment truly ripped from every romance book, smutty romance book, and anime, the two people who had this shared origin realized it looking into each other's eyes as they went down the road.
Oh,
We
that's
read different smutty novels.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's it's always like enemies to lovers, or like, oh, it turns out I'm the one who killed your parents in that car
always.
crash. I was driving
Always.
the car.
Always.
Come on, nobody's read Colleen Hoover?
That's
I've
the
read
favorite
some
part
of
of A Fault in the
Also,
Stars.
don't read Colleen Hoover.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's
No.
every twist I've read about like her books is like, oh, I'm the one who like murdered your parents in that.
Usually
junk-
people start with like friends to lovers or enemies to lovers, not. Well, I guess
Like
that's what you
hidden
said.
back.
But
Predator,
Yeah.
predator
Anyway.
prey.
yeah,
Predators,
All good.
predators to lovers,
I'm into that primal shit, baby.
monster fuckers only club.
Well,
Okay, speaking of monsters, maybe Mavic will fuck their way out of this because they are now surrounded by.
This one doesn't fuck. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, it's not. It wasn't appropriate.
where are the rails?
All right, I didn't know that was a
Well,
viable strategy against dire wolves, but I'll keep that in mind for later.
You've been reading the wrong novel.
You'd
huh?
be really
I've been reading the
surprised
wrong
what
romance
they can do
novels.
with their body.
There's a dark corner of the
Um,
internet that you can find this. Yeah.
It's not that dark. It's pretty prevalent, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As Mavic was PTSD'd back into their primal times, they smelled a familiar smell of rotting meat in the jaws of a dire wolf. So, like I said, you guys have a couple of reasons why you can't be surprised. But if creatures had successful stealth checks, they may have been able to follow you unseen before presenting themselves. And you see ahead of you two large direwolves, behind you as well. After I'll say Mavic and Oddwood, as you two are the ones with the feat and the item that is allowing you not to be surprised. See them first. And as you point this out or see it, or whatever your initial response is, behind you as well, you hear a slight rustling and two more wolves, larger than your horses, emerge.
Oh,
That's a big wolf.
Yes. And if we could all roll initiative, I would appreciate that. Anybody over 20?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
21. Thanks, alert.
And then 15 to 20?
18.
10 to 15.
12.
And then patience.
5.
Okay.
Big old 5.
Okay.
No,
So
don't pet
let's to give us. You're not in combat yet. The wolves don't seem to, although they are showing their teeth and breathing a little heavy. They seem to be holding still, sort of at the ready as opposed to ready to imminently attack. If that makes sense. Reading your words, and with a 23 initiative, which I'm thankful for, you see a third figure appear from, or a fifth, sorry, a third in front of you, appear from out of the brush, out of the woods, and it is, it's a man. It is mostly a man with a large mane, or what looks like a sort of a mane, but is fur that kind of comes from a wolf head down in sort of like a V. And Mavic, this looks very familiar to you. Large claws. Their hands are somewhere between claws and hands. It looks like they have the rough padding underneath, and now that you look at it, the legs look lupine, with that sort of backwards ankle, and the legs are bowed a little bit. And you see as he's stepping out from the shadow of this large dire wolf, he's sort of transforming mid-step until you see before you a man in like the sort of Hulk tattered shorts, right? The like ripped bottoms, and he like throws a large cloak over his shoulders, and it's one of the few or readjusts a cloak that was already over his shoulders. Sorry, that looks like it barely changed from the previous like wolf skin, and it just sort of almost looks like it just separates from that skin, and the face only gets a little bit smaller, but a lot hairier. This is a large-headed, big-bearded man. And he steps out and says, y'all lost, or brings you around these parts? Mavic is next in the initiative order.
Hello, friend. No, we were just taking a journey with our good friend. And Mavic motions to Esmeralda, our guide. No, we're not lost. We're out for a ride.
Well, you see, the way I see it, you gotta be lost. Because everybody knows we don't like vampires around these parts.
Oh.
More. Yeah, these are the free lands of the wolves. So your friend here, and he sort of motions a spear, a big, a really like ornate. It looks like like a status symbol, right? It's obviously like some sort of between the wolf pelt on his shoulders, and now you see this spear that he's like very clearly brandishing as a sign of violence as he points to patience. And it's a blood red spear. The wood is like a deep red, and it is a hard cast iron black that the spear looks.
Oh, you don't like my friend Patience. I see. Now, I understand these feelings you have, but let me ask, friend. First off, I am Mavic. What is your name?
The name is Carol.
Kirill.
And it's not just my feelings, right? We all got our duties and responsibilities.
Oh yes, of
And I
course.
don't just speak for myself. I speak for all my friends.
Oh.
And everybody roll a perception check with advantage.
With advantage. Okay. I got an
That wasn't
11.
Real.
23.
19.
9.
Mavic and Mavic and Oddwood, you hear a lot of people. You're not sure how many, but you hear the rattle of leaves and what sounds like some sort of rattling sound. Kruntel, you would guess there's somewhere between 12 to 15 people hiding in the woods, and you don't know how many, and you're pretty sure it's the sound of bones rattling on their weapons. And it just makes it's one of those things where the sound's coming from so many places, and there's such a weird way that the sound reverberates off the mist and the trees that you can't really place how many. Courtney, you think there's like 15 to 20 people. Large bodies, and you're starting to see some of them. They're in the same hybrid form that this man Kirill was in before he stepped out.
Oh,
So you see,
sorry. Please continue, my friend.
I'd love to let your friend pass by, because I know that there's a difference between a vampire and a damn fear. I know that. But if it looks like a rat, smells like a rat, it's got to be a rat, and that's the way they see it. So I'm sure there's an arrangement we can come to.
Oh, I certainly hope so. You're obviously a very wise man. Yeah, go ahead. Kruntel.
An arrangement. Now you're speaking my language. What kind of arrangement are you looking for?
Well, I have been given the authority to speak on behalf of these people and deal on their behalf. And see, I could be persuaded with a generous gift to be able to convince them that your friend and what was your name, sweetheart?
Patience, my dear.
Oh, I see. It is divine intervention, because I think we all could use some patience here, and that'll keep all our skin on our back, right? Because Lucy and Ethel here don't want to. They've already fed today, so anything that they might get to take home as a snack would just sort of sit there, and they don't really like the taste of day-old meat. They prefer fresh stuff. So, I think for a generous fee, I may be able to convince my friends that you're not a friend, and that with this gift given freely, you are in fact a benevolent force in helping us repel the vampires and the devil Strahd.
Well, that's exactly what we are, so that's a good...
We love to hear it. What the fuck is wrong with that one? And he points at Oddwood at this moment.
Well, I skipped breakfast.
I was going to say the same thing.
Is that why you got that weird shit floating in your eye socket there? Breakfast?
Oh no, that's entirely separate.
At this point, he kind of takes the spear and very gently tries to like poke at, but not hard, ink, which is fine. You just hear ink in your head. You better tell this son of a bitch to back off.
Well, I would prefer if you didn't keep your weapons so close to me. If we're having some amicable discussions amongst friends, weapons shouldn't be involved, right?
We all want to be friendly around here, don't we?
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah. All right.
I think you would react badly if somebody poked a spear into your stomach.
Do you got a spear to poke me? You want to try that?
No.
I think that'd be.
No.
Hi, you know,
If
I
the
can't help but
situation-
notice.
Oh, here we go. Let the sweet words pour from your honeyed mouth, darling.
I just wanted to give you the most. Your coats are all so beautiful. You must take wonderful care of them. I believe we're talking about monetary compensation for the passage through, correct?
I do believe, and thank you for speaking out, Patience, because he is going to roll a perception check against your deception to
Good luck, babe.
start a negotiation number. So go ahead and roll that d20 for me.
Oh. Sorry. That would be a 28.
Yeah, he rolled really well, but that over 25 roll certainly gives you an edge. But I think he does still recognize that you are not. So go ahead and roll a history check for me, Patience. Bastion and Mavic would also roll this to
Okay.
try to think
Oh,
about.
thank God.
Krunzel, you don't have enough background. Really.
What is going on with my rolling today?
It's bad. Mine's bad too.
I only got a 9 for a history check.
You guys better be lucky we didn't go into battle.
Yeah.
Patience, this is close to you, so you're not sure 100% what he might be thinking, but you do know that a lot of Damphir are bastards that just appear. Like, there's not very many claim Damphir, and there's certainly not very many that are daughters to like the woman is a vampire. It is a sort of anomaly. So he knows that based on your clothes, you're not like a bastard on the run. You're not like a orphaned kid, or come from like some poor village that was visited in the night. And then, yeah, you guys know that too, that you think that you might, because your rolls were so low, you guys think you might be able to get out of this with a pretty low number, because Damphir are usually bastards. They're usually like street urchins. They run like orphans that end up like running gangs or being involved in like some sort of like criminal stuff. But with, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say Mavic would also, because this is what she always does. Mavic would, of course, monetary. I understand money is important. I've just learned this really, but I am a healer. If you have any in your troop that needs a touch of healing, I am here to help, and perhaps that can help as well with our
Bastion and Mavic. Yeah, sure. And Patience roll history checks.
Okay, let's do this again.
Guidance. Because I forgot I could do it.
Hold on, I'm going to use my reborn feature to add a d6 to that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say as well though, because if you studied under, you could roll this at advantage.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna
So
do
I
guidance
rolled
as
an-
well.
That is better.
Okay, what do we got?
I've rolled a natural 1, which means I have to do a thing.
Oh yeah. If you could read your whispers.
Hold on.
But
Yes.
hold or find it and hold on that. Laura, what did you get?
14.
And then Bastion, what did you get?
21.
Laura, you remember? You think like something? There's something about werewolves where you realize you just did like something kind of dumb. Bastion,
okay.
Werewolves don't need healing. Werewolves heal all that like immediately. They're notoriously impossible to kill. You, in fact, helped run a experiment on a werewolf with Dr. Mordenheim.
Hell yeah.
That was an incredible faux pas by Mavic and offered them something.
He's just being kind. So,
in case you have any friends who are not lichens.
Yeah, I think we're doing all right. Lucy and Ethel are pretty happy and healthy, and me and the pack are doing just fine.
Oh, I'm glad.
But I do appreciate that, young lady. That is mighty kind of you. No, I think what we are after is somewhere in the neighborhood of, let's call it 600 gold.
Okay,
We'll
I think we need to
important goods, and then yes, now we will resolve.
Yeah. So, do you want me to read out which?
If you could read out,
I have?
Just the effect.
Okay.
You read out the gift and then what this effect is.
So, my gift is the Gathered Whispers. You are haunted by spiritual beings, whether the souls of the departed or entities from another plane. And I have rolled a natural 1, which means I have a consequence. And I rolled a 1 on my d4, which is I have disadvantage on my next attack, ability, or saving throw. And this is the next
it
roll
was
I've made.
Manifest in patience just looks off. You think it might have been probably because she cried herself to sleep, or something like that. It's like some sort of, she just looks tired, not really with it. She's usually the best salesperson sort of at the carnival, and she doesn't look like she could sell a Taroka reading to anyone tonight. You hear in your head your father's advice, right? He's sort of the one that gave you that, taught you the gift of gab, and you hear in his voice something along the lines of, whenever you're selling something, you have to sell something that people want, and realize that Mavic has offered something that is useless to them. But the thought of your father really distracts you. And you were brought back by 600 gold pieces. And we'll take anything of value into consideration on that bill.
That is, I understand. It's a bit rich for our blood.
Well,
Mr. Kirill.
You could always die, and we could just take all your stuff, or you could offer up your services.
I see. What per se are you looking for vis-a-vis services?
That's a good one. We do have a couple of problems around here. There's a magician, mad mage, over them hills yonder. So I don't know if you know, Lycans don't do too well with the magic, and he's got a lot of silver weapons. He's a pretty smart guy.
It's quite rude, actually, of him.
Approach
Not very neighborly.
Tory. I'm not a. He rolls his stones. Maybe you guys. She looks a little dangerous over there. Oddwood, you see Slippy is a weird dark color of plasmoid that you're not really used to seeing, but you recognize it as the color she took on last night. She looks a little dangerous. You all, though, that might be outside of your capabilities. Look, honey, you can give up the gold, or we can take it from you.
This is a discussion, is it not?
Yep.
I must say.
My point of discussion.
Exactly. Wonderful. Back and forth. I am quite tired, so forgive my forwardness. Your voice is just so calming.
Forward lady.
Well, I can certainly give you 400 gold.
Let me discuss that with the other leadership of the pack. And he turns around and has a conversation with himself. You see, like, turn back and forth. He's like, "It's not going to do it, honey. So, you can give up the gold and goods, or," and he does and you hear the rattling get a little bit louder.
Well, I say we take our luck with the mage, right? After all, if the mage kills us, you can just take our stuff anyways.
No, then I'd be out of your stuff because we don't really want to go over there. You'd have to kill the mage. I'm kind of out. I'm not sure you can do that. But the good news is, if you head back this way, you can always take that option if you don't have the gold to pay both times.
Oh, it's a two-way fare.
This is a toll, sweetheart.
I thought I liked you. Absolute robbery.
Yeah, my mama said the same thing.
Smart woman. All right. Very well.
How about this? Let's meet in the middle. 500 gold. Be on your way. Roll a perception check. And if anybody else wants as well.
But what are numbers? 17.
Yeah, he's in a complete power position, right? You particularly know exactly the odds of surviving, and even with Slippy, you're not really sure what Esmeralda can do. This is not a good situation.
Well, I offered you the 400 gold. Will you take the other 100 in gemstones?
I love it. Let's do it. Look at that, boys. I told you she was a nice lady.
Hand it over. There you go.
How do you count your gold?
Son of a fuck. Practiced hand, of course. I know how to count out gold efficiently.
Also, did you put all your stuff into the bag of holding? Or did you keep the bag of gems separate with the other stuff that you said you had?
Gems probably would have been separate just because I'd been looking through them for something else.
But did you pull that other stuff out? Like, is it with that other stuff we had talked about that you got from the office?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Okay. Roll. I'll give you the chance to meta a little bit. Roll either a sleight of hand. Yeah, roll a sleight of hand. See how well you can hide some of that stuff.
Guidance. fuck, it's another nat 1.
Are you serious?
Yes!
Throw that dice into the sun.
It was a different one! Sarah, what have you done to me?
It wasn't me.
All right, you
He's passed the mantle.
You tried your best to, right? Like you were like, he let you step away, whatever, right? But I don't even think you know how much he saw, and certainly didn't think. You probably think you're fine. He didn't see anything.
If I can see patients obviously hiding, or like trying to be sneaky about it, can I use my magical tinkering to help? Magical tinkering lets me create a static visual effect in order
Roll
to
a
just
perception check
Yeah.
to see if you could, or roll. No, sorry, an insight. Sorry, not
insight.
perception,
Okay,
insight.
cool. An insight. That is a 7. I'm going to use lucky.
Hey, that's my boy.
11. And I will use my knowledge from past life. I only get twice each long rest.
Okay, you need a 4.
I got
Nope.
2.
I won't let her give it advantage. What is your sleight of hand? What do you add to sleight of hand?
I add +2 to sleight of hand.
You added 2. So, you think you helped too? You probably got it up. I'll say you got it up a little late. So, yeah. Sorry about that. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay. Yeah. All right. And he takes a little time. He takes out a little scale. He's got a little scale. He's like, looks like we're all squared up. Actually, let me roll really quick. Yeah. What type of diamond? Did you give him one close to 100?
I would have just given him a collection of things.
Yeah.
If you want it done. Yeah.
His perception is he sees that it's the value. Yeah. All right. Well, y'all carry on your merry way. And tell Madame Ava we said hello. And that she needs to keep her little sanctity boys and girls out of the woods if she wants them to stop disappearing. Right?
Oh, I was going to recommend, like, a pass system. I'm sure you two could go into great business together. But, what do I know?
Yeah. Not very much, it seems like. And he turns around, transforms mid-step, and bounds into the woods.
That was impressive.
Mavic, as you guys ride along and your hackles recede, sort of lay flat again, and your sense that your pupils once again dilate after narrowing, the sort of battle mode that has been so driven into you recedes. Right. You are taken back to your patrol of the woods. One of your first times patrolling the woods. And you're once again a much younger, sprier hobgoblin. And it's late at night, with the harvest moon high and full, providing you plenty of light for your nocturnal eyes to see. And it's a cool, late fall evening, in addition to the sounds of far-off critters crunching the dead leaves and the random caw of a bird in the distance, the hoot of an owl. Maybe it's that, just faintly, the heartbeats, the fast, young heartbeats of children, human children, are on. And next to you, slow and steadied and practiced breath, is your mentor, Drelvuk. And you hear him say, "This way." But you know he's going in the wrong direction. What do you say? What do you do? Do you follow him? You guys are on a normal patrol. You've been a part of. Oh my God! What did you call it again? The Cometa. You've been part of the Cometa for about 6 months, and him being the most senior member is on patrol, the most junior member.
I hesitate for a moment, and I say, "Hey, no, it's this way."
Roll perception check.
That will be a 22.
There's a glimmer in his eye as like I said, you've been a part of the Cometa for about 6 months. This is a legend. This is someone who who rose very fast when they were young and stood on top for a long time. He is a revolutionary in thought and exemplary in battle. And you stood up and told him he's wrong, and you think that might be the first time in years that someone has told him he's wrong.
I'm shitting myself, but I said it.
He looks back and says, "What makes you sure?"
And Mavic, the wind is going in a different direction. It is putting us off our course.
Do you want to give him the help action?
Yeah.
Okay. He takes a second, and you see him close his eyes, stop at the bottom of a breath. You're right. Lead the way.
Yes, sir. I giddy. I go. Keeping it together because I'm a military person. We keep it locked down, but on the inside, absolutely insane.
Yeah, in the distance, you see 3 young children in white sort of slip dresses, 2 girls in white, almost like 90s style, very midsummer, and a boy in linens. You, as Mavic, maybe don't have a frame of reference for this, but a player would see 10 to 12-year-olds who snuck out in the middle of the night to maybe have a little mischief in the forest. And you're probably, I'd say, about a good 200 feet away from them. You guys have superior night vision, far enough where they can't see you, but you can see them. And they look like they're playing some sort of game. You hear counting, and they separate, and they go. And Drelvuk says to you, "You were right. But it seems that there is no threat here."
No.
So, young ladies. Not a threat yet. But the babes grow into monsters, don't they?
This is what they tell us.
It is the truth. Here's what I tell you. These,
Yes.
they sound sweet and innocent and just out here having a good time. I've seen humans wield lightning and fire, weapons, a material harder than any rock, more dangerous than any of the monsters, any of the wolves, or crows, bats, any other predators. Do not let their soft skin and their sweet smell fool you. These humans are the most dangerous predator in the world. But due to the rules of engagement, we do not harm innocents. And until they show their hand, we will watch and observe.
Yes, sir.
What made you want to join the defense force? Maybe?
It is the only honor a hobgoblin can know. And a greater honor to serve under you, sir.
Honor. Yes. Something very few of our kind seek out. Takes a rare breed for a hobgoblin to seek honor. And although I agree there is no greater honor than defending those whom you have sworn your loyalty to, I am just another hobgoblin. There is no greater honor, certainly. But I will say, it took a bit of courage for you to tell me I was wrong. Tell me, Mavic, how much courage do you have?
She straightens. As much as I need to have.
I think you see then, as he sees you straighten, he straightens himself and sort of presents arms. He gets into his stance.
She gets it because she
Right.
gets into.
Okay. Go ahead and roll an athletics check.
Okay. Okay. 17.
Pretty good. That is not going to beat a nat 20. In a move uncommon, most hobgoblins you've seen, even those in the Cometa, right? This the sort of spec ops, the SEAL group of your tribe's defense force, right? It's this very elite that is both the outer protection scouts as well as runs high-level dangerous missions to take out any large prey that may wander into your guys' area, sorry, give me 1 second, or any other threat, including counteroffensives that Drelvuk has led, which led him to such renown. But even amongst them, hobgoblins are known far more for their brutality and large numbers during battles. And you see now in this swift move in the micro, how his outside the box thinking has led him to this position, because as he feints in a way that you're so used to fighting full frontal assault, he instead sidesteps at the last second, picks your ankle up just as you lift the other foot to run, and you end up face first in the dirt, and he barely expended any energy to get you down. And he says as he stands over you, "What good is bravery if it's followed with stupidity?" And you take 4 points of damage as he just knocks you with the backside of a stick in the head, and then he lets you stand up. And go ahead and roll, and he sort of lets you stand up and face him again.
Okay. She's like, "Well, you're not called the Cunning for no reason."
What'd you roll?
What am I rolling? Athletics again?
Roll another athletics again.
Not worse, but so that is 12.
Okay. He goes, and this time he feints that and tries to trip you with his stick on the follow through. And at the last second, you meet his and go to counter, and he blocks you. So maybe there is a bit more to this Mavic. But are you, as much as you are here to defend your fellow hobgoblin kind, sometimes you must go on the attack. And then he swings again. Let's roll one last one.
Change dice.
Do it.
No, 12 again. Nope. Yeah, 12 again.
In another move that you just like don't see coming, it feels like he has 4 to 6 different hands and 2 or 3 different pulls, and you somehow end up on your ass this time, and he has it's like a short staff driven up under your chin, and I need you to roll me a Constitution check at this point.
Check or save?
Save.
Okay. 17.
Okay. Now roll a perception check.
Okay.
Roll it at advantage because he's saying something directly into your face.
Well, thank God for advantage, because one of those was a nat 1. 12.
You see something that no hobgoblin before or after has ever seen, and that's fear. Because as you are holding the short staff underneath your neck, trying to give you just enough room to breathe, and he's giving you some sort of admonition, highlighting some sort of weakness. You don't hear it at all because the blood is so loud, pumping in your head. But as you see that fear in his eyes, you see reflected your figure beginning to swell back down. Teeth that were sharp and elongated, growling, are receding. Hands are shrinking. Claws are going back into the recesses. And if you didn't see it for yourself in his eyes, you wouldn't believe what was in them. And you also realize at this point that you're receding, that you are falling away from that stick, and he stands up and he offers his hand to you.
gets up.
What is Mavic thinking? As her, she saw a monstrous version of herself in her hero's eyes.
She's trying to pretend it didn't happen. That it was just the blood was in her ear. Like, she was getting pissed off because, like, she's trying to show, like, honor to this hero, and he's being a dick about it. So she's like, no, I was seeing things.
Okay.
It was, no.
Roll a deception check.
Okay. Oh, 9.
Yeah, he sees right through your bullshit. You are being seen in a way and perceived in a way that you, and to a depth that you rarely probe yourself. And you see this man, and you see that his true power lies in wisdom. And that is the thing you can take from him. His ability to see and assess and see through what it is the world is trying to present him at deeper truths, and he sees these truths in you that you don't even want to acknowledge. And he says to you, you can stick your head in the sand. You can be just another one of these violent animals who come out here trying to kill, pillage, and feel good about themselves for the 30 seconds of the battle. Or you can seek control. And I can guide you in seeking that. And he offers his hand out to you.
And she takes it, looking appropriately cowed, basically, just like, yes, sir.
Yeah. And as you remember this, you were sucked into this memory hole, if you will, sort of daydreaming absently along the road. At this point, Slippy, in a way that makes you all kind of uncomfortable, does this thing that they are fond of doing, where they take it's like a tentacle that comes out of them at random places, and it like pats you on the shoulder, and she's still like holding their reins, of the horse, and this like third tentacle arm like sort of patted you on the shoulder, try to bring you at it. It's Mavic, I believe we're here. Are you okay?
Yes, of course. That is a very handy trick.
It's very useful. Don't tell anybody, but it's pretty useful in the bedroom of Aqua too.
Well, you can grab other things, off of high shelves.
I can grab a lot of things.
I need you to explain this more. I don't
I
understand.
will not here.
No.
Yes, for you, as well for your sake, Gruntle. But the lady never tells. Are you?
She just said it. She looked at Gruntle. She did just say something that she then wouldn't
No.
explain. Yes.
Didn't say a thing. Not a thing.
Oh.
All right. Are you okay though? You seem. I know last night was terrible, and I know you had a sort of moment or whatever with Ali. You seem to make amends, if you will.
Yes.
Consent can help make amends often.
Yes. No, but I was far away. But no, I am fine. I thank you for your concern.
Yeah, and as she continues to check in on you, the road gradually disappears and is replaced by a twisted, muddy path through the trees. You go in this offshoot, and you're very clearly off the main road now. There's seems to be a less defined road, as much as the foliage, what little is left, just doesn't seem to grow on this well-trodden path. Excuse me. And very suddenly, you see it on the horizon at first, almost as the edge of a tunnel. As you get deep into the late afternoon, and the weird, not sun has receded in its light, and the canopy of mist and branches suddenly gives way to black clouds rolling and boiling far above. There's a clearing here. Just down the way, you see a river that widens farther and farther away into a big lake. A small lake, several hundred feet across. There are 5 colorful round tents. They're about 10 feet in diameter, and they're pitched in sort of a semicircle. This is about 100 or 200 feet away from you at the moment. But you see they're in sort of a semicircle. And in the center are 4 barrel-topped wagons. And a much larger tent stands farther out from the camp at the shore of that lake. And it has 2 people directly at the entrance of the tent, and it looks like scouts at the edge of camp leading out to that road. And go ahead and roll perception checks from everyone.
How many scouts can we see? Or is that with perception?
Yeah, roll perception. I'll tell you.
These rolls are rolls that have
12.
happened.
Now I'm really glad that I didn't make you guys do combat.
18.
16 here.
12.
Frontal, you're good at this. You know, and maybe you. Yeah, I heard you say that, and I don't mean to disrespect Oddwood, but I was just
It's okay.
Oddwood is deep in discussion with Ink about whether or not they need to kill Kirill on the way back.
What Slippy uses in the bedroom.
Yeah. Oddwood is too busy thinking about Slippy's third tentacle. No. Frontal, you're good at this. Mavic, you have skill and patience. You pretty quickly recognize that there can't be much more than like 20 people at this camp. You see 2 guards, and then there's 2 more people sort of at the edge of that edge of camp. There's 2 near side you, and there's 2 the other side. But what you hear, Frontal, Mavic, and Patience, is something that you really didn't expect to hear today. And that's a little bit of like a jaunty tune. It seems like some people might be sitting around a fire, maybe having a couple of drinks. It's the sound of an accordion and some sort of stringed instrument. And
Seem like
that
people.
is where we will take our break. Welcome back, y'all. Okay. Yeah, as you come up, you are greeted, as you see it on the map, by 2 Visanti guards. They are they seem to be the ones on watch. Like I said, in addition to the other 2 that are in front of them, it's 10. And it looks like a couple others, now that you're a little closer, that are separated from those, clearly enjoying themselves. it seemed to be. Well, actually, go ahead and roll another perception check, or perception or insight.
Ooh, insight.
Hey. I can tell whether or not they're enjoying themselves. That's what I get a reasonable roll on.
I got a 16.
12 insight.
Mavic, you get this very quickly. There's two that are relaxing right now, but you can tell that there's six individuals that rotate as the sort of on watch personnel. So they might be relaxing right now, but they're about to relieve at some indeterminate amount of time. They're on a on for 2 shifts, off for 1 shift sort of rotation. And there are 2 that seem to be just eating for utility and not drinking. But the 6 in the middle, whose day off it maybe, are just kind of chill.
Okay.
You are greeted at the front by those 2 Visanti, and they are, let's see. Hello, travelers. What brings you all the way out here? Slippy steps up and gives a look to Esmeralda. And then you see no perception check necessary. There's a look of recognition between Esmeralda and these 2 Visanti, male presenting and a female presenting Visanti here, standing there. Hello, okay. Are you all... What are you here for? And Slippy shows the inside of their like outer cloak. They have this like really cool cloak they've put on as you guys have been traveling. That has like sometimes if you're not really paying attention to them, it almost seems like Slippy sort of disappears in your peripheral. It's like a weird optical illusion. And she sort of flashes that inside and says, "We are friends of Madam, your pilgrims and friends of the Visanti, and in search of Madam Ava's guidance. We have traveled far and are weary, and are hoping to that Madam Ava can provide us with some comfort and perhaps guidance."
And beer.
And beer. And then let's see. And Esmeralda just gives kind of like a nod, barely perceptible nod. Oh well, all are welcome. All are welcome. We just ask that you keep your weapons sheathed. You travel here with friends, so as long as the weapons stay in their compartments, everything's groovy, okay? Madam Ava may see you tonight. She may want you to stay. I can't say, but she sees people when she sees people, you know? It's like a part of her thing. She's like, I don't know. I'm not even going to try it. She does a better job of spooking all you guys out than I usually know. So enjoy our wine, enjoy our ale, and hang out. We don't have any extra tents or anything, so I hope you have some sort of sleeping.
Oh, we brought our own tent. It's all right.
Oh, very well, very well. And he just kind of looks because he doesn't see a path big enough. He doesn't see like any like large. Oh, okay, whatever. As long as you got that figured out, we're good. And then he just kind of like gives you the signal to go along. They don't really seem. There's, you know, the difference between seeing like a uniformed police officer like at a school that is like complacent. They've never really had to use their weapon. They've never really had to do anything, but they're there. They're physically there, between that and like a SWAT officer at like on a big event or something, you know what I mean? Who's like very vigilant and providing a forward intimidating force. Like, this is definitely the previous and not the latter. So yeah, you guys head on over. And what do you want to do? Do you want to set up? I think Slippy says something like, I do believe we should introduce ourselves, not be rude to our guests. Maybe, we don't have any food. Did we? We didn't really bring anything. And she like kind of pulls a. She's like, I think if we all pitch in a couple gold, we can maybe offer that to partake in some of the food.
Certainly.
I can do that.
I am also. I sort of gave the introduction, but I'm not like not good with people. Sometimes people find walking goo uncomfortable. So if somebody else wants to be the point. Oddwood, honey,
I would love to talk to them.
Oddwood, you are very approachable. You're very easy to talk to.
It's true.
Is it still tense though, like between me and Oddwood?
That's up to you guys. Yeah.
Oddwood's not like mad at you or anything. You don't feel like anger and aggression from Oddwood. He's mostly like confused and curious more than anything. He does want to pull you aside and talk to you about it at some point, but he's not like he's not being passive aggressive about it.
Okay. Yeah. I think she's a little tentative about it. She's like, okay, you're very easy to talk to, so
well,
perhaps.
thank you. Over the table, I have a +1 to persuasion.
I even rolling like shit. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
He's just gassing up their man.
Right. I take the couple of gold from everyone who offers, and
actually, can I go along? Like we can kind of go up together because
I think we're all going up.
Well, it's to give the help action and like kind of say hello everybody.
You could do that. Okay. Do you? Okay. Well, let's play it out, and I'll tell you whether you roll at advantage or we'll see. We'll see.
I want to head to kind of the group in the middle that's chilling and relaxing, and hello there, friends. Do you have a bit of room for some new people around the fire?
Yeah. So when you first were walking up, you definitely heard, like I said, a little bit of a jaunty tune, right? Something that was like something that the poor Irish were listening to at the bottom of the Titanic, something like that, right? Something very like fancy. Now it's just one instrument. It's just like a guy on his just playing like a slower. It's definitely it's a little, I would like, for lack of a better word, tense as you guys walk up. It's just a big group of strangers that
yeah, there's a bunch of tents.
And so what did you say? Sorry.
Do you have room around the fire? Can we join you?
Oh yes, of course. Yes. Well, my name is Andrej.
Nice to meet you.
These are my friends, Cabal, Lavinia, Magda, and Vasily.
Well, my name is Oddwood, and these are my friends. This is Patience and Cruntle and Mavic. And the lovely Esmeralda, who I think you have already met.
Yes. Esmeralda, it's been a very long time since you've been out. How goes the fight, sister? And Esmeralda just says, fuck off. It takes like a piece of salted meat out of their pack.
And my lovely partner, Slippy.
Oh, very nice to meet you. It's not very often we see plasma around here. Also, not very often we see hobgoblin. What? You're a long way from. You look like you're like in people clothes. What's all this about?
Yes, I have to wear clothes. I'm Mavic, as he said.
Yeah, but those clothes aren't like covered in blood and like other animal viscera and like bones and shit. Come on, don't act like hobgoblin are like civilized.
No,
Oh.
I won't act in any way, but I mean, I would look very
Oh,
strange
I hope
if
you
I.
act with like a little bit of courtesy. It's fine to be polite.
What do I actually like look at the rest of my party and I go, why do people keep telling me that I should be polite when they are being actively mean to me? Okay, I'm very genuinely curious.
No, you seem fine. I said you're a different hobgoblin, but like other hobgoblins, they're just
Okay.
not like this.
So, here's the question. Okay, we're gonna move on. We would like to join you here around the fire. We would also wonder if you would have any rations you could share with us. In return, I
Yeah,
am
of
a
course.
healer. I can repay in if there is anyone in need of medicine or just generally feeling a little bit better. Perhaps some of my
actually,
friends.
Magda's got like a thing with her foot. It's like it stinks. She's had to sleep outside for like 2 weeks now.
Ah, the stinky
Disgusting.
foot. Yes, like this.
Yeah, so maybe you can help her. But we also take gold, or you could just like have some food if you really don't have anything. But like,
Yeah, we're happy to pay. Patience here also does fortunes, if you like that. I can pretend to do fortunes. I've watched a lot of Patience's shows.
they all kind of like look at each other, give it like a knowing look passes between them, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, sure, bring out, yeah, maybe we'll ask, maybe Madam Ava needs her fortune read, huh?"
I was going to offer to play my violin with you. Seems like you could use some accompaniment.
Oh yes. Well, all are welcome. All gifts, even hobgoblins.
You're very stuck on this.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I go there. Hey, Magda, would you like me to look at your foot?
Yeah. And you see a foot that, like, to the arch. You see this woman, this large, stocky, this dwarf woman. Takes a minute or two to undo their boot. And sort of as the boot comes off and sock comes off in layers, right? She sort of like untucks the trousers, undoes the boot and the sock. The smell sort of comes in waves. And it is like by the time it is a bare foot in front of you, the smell is truly atrocious. You've seen some really gross stuff, and this is a nearly black foot to the arch.
Oddwood's going to reach into his pouch or his vest actually, and pull out like a little vial of tincture, and I want to use magical tinkering to make it emit a more pleasant smell. I don't think it's gonna fix it, but just to make it a little bit better. It smells like rose and stank foot instead of just stank foot.
Oh, man, what would that be? There's no like science check.
Like an
I guess
Arcana
it'd be
check.
Arcana. Yeah, let's roll an Arcana. See how much you get.
22.
Nice.
This is the roll I needed to be successful on.
Yeah, it helps a lot. It's brought it to like a neutral, but it's more like contained it. So it's like because at this point Vasily and Andrej were like, "Oh, good, get away! We're trying to eat."
Magda, this is almost as impressive as your beard.
Oh!
Okay, this is bad.
Ain't nothing. We're probably gonna cut it off.
Oh dear.
Just working up the courage.
Can I? Let's not be too hasty. I think we don't have to cut your foot off. I mean, that is a little hasty.
Also,
We throw a
wouldn't
baby
stop
in
the kids.
bathwater, right? That is the saying. Anyway, okay. So do I roll medicine, or like, do you want me to roll anything,
This
or I
looks
can use
like
a cure
it's-
wounds?
Yeah, go ahead and roll a medicine to see
Okay.
what you need to do.
I'm honestly surprised it hadn't fallen off yet.
And that one for a 6.
Oh,
Nat one. Well, it's just a check, so it's a nat one's fine. 6.
Yeah,
You
we'll
gotta
have to
pull
cut
out
it
all
off.
the stops. This is like you can't really focus because, like, it feels like every time you look at it, it's almost like looking into Oddwood's blank eye socket. Like it shifts a little bit. It like you think the toe might be following you as you move your head, and it's like hard to move past the nausea.
This,
So you
this,
think
look at-
you
this
need to pull
very
out like,
bad.
all the stops. To save
Do I get the impression like a lesser restoration or something? Like it's
Yeah, you think
that
that
bad.
like, the most you can do is what you need to do. That this might be a curse. It might not even be medical. It might be.
Oh, Magda,
Stank
I
foot
mean,
curse.
I need you to know that this is truly upsetting, and I take my role as a healer very seriously, and I'm going to reach out, and I'm going to like put my hand on the terrible foot,
oh
No.
God. You're
I'm
touching
going to
it now. You're
cast-
touching it now.
and I'm
Can I-
casting lesser restoration.
Yeah. So once again, a bluish, cool, some would say cold light is imbued in your hands and engulfs this foot, and it becomes brighter and brighter for a second. And the black begins to recede into the toes until it just looks like a bruise for a little bit, and then it eventually it looks like a foot, like a hairy, super, almost as wide as it is long, but mundane nonetheless, dwarven foot. The smell, however, from the boot remains, and although much less active, is still, it's quite something.
I think, friend Magda, you will need to possibly burn that shoe. It might be a lot of scars, but or wash. Just do your best
Fire.
to keep your feet clean.
Fire.
Patience, Mavic, Gruntle, everyone, actually, yeah. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Guidance. If I can.
Guidance. Oh, hell yeah.
It's 10.
16 here.
21.
Perception.
Yes.
27.
Oh, love it. 21 and a 27.
I'm in a
and
different
then
world from the foot smell.
Patience. What'd you get?
Patience got a 10. She's
And then
still
Gruntle got a
mortified.
17, right? You said?
Hmm?
Gruntle, what did you get?
16.
16. Okay. You see someone who Oddwood and Mavic remember them being introduced as Merrick. Looks very interested in Mavic now. Is looking at them with great interest once they saw the healing. Oddwood you don't see this, but maybe you see they are now particularly looking at your symbol. And seem to be, if you had to guess, taking in details of a description. Frontal, you just see this guy who looks like maybe they saw a miracle, so they're a little interested. Patience, the smell is truly awful. Even though the foot is not black anymore, it is unsightly.
Burned into my mind forever.
Does it seem? I can do an insight check on this. Does it seem to be like a bad thing? Like they're about to go and tell
21?
someone? Yeah.
It doesn't seem good, but it doesn't seem like an imminent danger. It just seems like they're definitely like an intel gathering. Like that set off something of a... You don't know if it was like an alarm, but they're looking very closely at Mavic now in a way that is not neutral. We'll put it that way.
Does Mavic have any identifying things besides being a hobgoblin and having like the Far Wanderer signal or symbol?
I do wear on my head what looks to be the beginning of a crown with two... You would think they're gems, but one of them is. But then one of them looks really weird. But the one that looks weird is kind of like a ruby color, and the other is more of an opal. But it's small, like it's very fine. So it kind of gets lost in her. She tries not to draw attention to it, to be honest. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to kind of walk over to Mavic and put a hand kind of like on Mavic's shoulder and be like, wow, that was quite impressive. It looks like a foot now. And while it's happening, inks, like you feel kind of like a cold liquid of ink like kind of moving, rippling under your cloak, and as I kind of want to stand between Mavic and the person who's like trying to identify Mavic, and use 2 more of my magical tinkers to change the visual of the crown and the Far Wanderer symbol to make them less identifiable. Actually, I want to change, because I have the symbol of Palor. I know what it looks like. I'm going to change the Far Wanderer symbol to just look like the symbol of Palor.
Yeah, I love that. Is there like a perception check or something to see?
It's
what's the deal?
It's a static visual effect.
Okay.
So that's up to you.
What's your spell DC?
My spell DC, that is a 16.
Yeah, this person just looks a little confused now. Now they look like a little like uncomfortable, I'll say. But they're not like making any moves towards anybody. They're just kind of now. This is one of the people who I said was sober, sitting a little farther away from the group, eating, looking like they're getting ready to go on watch. But they're still just sitting there.
Yeah. And I want to change the crown to be a crown of flowers.
Cool. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Okay. Magda. Thanks. Really didn't want to lose that foot.
Yes, it's very. I was about to say not handy, which is not it's a footy, but anyway, it's not good to lose your foot. Okay, so take care of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen. It's counterintuitive, but like sometimes you just need to let your feet like breathe. So sometimes when you're resting, clean your feet first off. That's a very important thing, which no one thinks about. But yeah, and then you let it breathe. You like get some air. It's seriously though, you got to get rid of that shoe.
We got the river right here. I might go try to give this another wash in the river, and then just toddle off. Another one of the Vasanti who reintroduces herself as Lavinia. Stands up alongside y'all. Says, so what brings you to Madame Ava? What fortune do you seek?
Honestly, I have questions. I think they may have known my father.
You see, Lavinia kind of like laughs and said, "No, Siri, I'm not talking to you." Sorry. You see, Lavinia kind of chuckles a little bit and she's like, "Well, I will tell you from all the people that have come by, if you're coming with questions, Madame Eva is not the woman for you. She often people leave with more questions than they came with. So, I mean, best of luck to you, but I'm not sure this is the right place." And then Andrej, being the ever positive person that he is, yeah, I see in better people than you come through, with more answers and more power, and they left more crumbly and more stupid.
Yeah, but did they have spunk?
Oh.
Well, he was a man wizard, so yeah, he had spunk, I guess.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
maybe that seems like between like a person and their partner, but I'm going to assume he had spunk.
Do we
I mean,
need
there's-
instructions to see Madame Ava?
Does she want
What
spunk?
was that? Sorry, say again. One more
Do
time.
we need instructions? Can we mosey?
Madame Eva
over?
will see you when she's ready. If she's ready to see you, she'll let us know.
Great.
Believe us, we would never stop Madame Eva from seeing you. I'm just telling you. Look, right? Okay, let me.
I was
Five,
really just trying to
maybe
distract
like-
from the conversation.
maybe like 3 or 4 dozen moons ago, this man came, man. It's very, very, very much like you, madam. It's very, very nice robes. He's a smooth talker. This man thought he had it all. And he came and he was like, I'm gonna be the one that's gonna take care of Strahd. I'm gonna kill him. And we were all like, yeah, man, do it. And then he went into Madame Ava's and he came out and he was like a little shaky. He was like, I'm still going to kill Strahd. I don't need to go there. And then he went from here all across Barovia. He had some of those raven people on his side. He had some of the werewolves on his side. He was like, you poor people, I will rescue you. And they were like, yeah, the magic man will save us. And they all traveled the mist. A couple of my friends helped them walk through the mist. You can go anywhere if you want to be something. You only go where Strahd wants you to go. That's why we are so useful in this life. That's the only reason we survive. Anyway, we marched all the way to Barovia. And at this time, Barovia was a thriving place. It benefited greatly from Strahd's benevolence, from being so close to the castle Ravenloft. It was the bounty of Ravenloft overflowed into the village of Barovia. The streets were well lit, and they were people were well fed, and I don't know why they rebelled. Maybe there was some ladder climbers. Maybe there was some people who really did feel wronged by Strahd. And this wizard man, he like marched straight up to Castle Ravenloft and met Strahd in the night in battle. And almost immediately, half of his peasant army was killed by a big storm of rocks and thunder and fire. But this wizard man stood tall, and people thought maybe this is it. Maybe this is the one. Maybe this is the death the devil Strahd so ardently seeks has come. And they battled back and forth, and there was lightning, and fire, and large waves of water. And at the end of it all, Strahd threw the man from the cliffs, from the ramparts of his castle, as his whole castle raised too higher and higher into the sky, where it still floats to this day. And Strahd threw the lifeless body of his wizard from those ramparts onto the ground, where it lay untouched and rotted for weeks, as a symbol of the failed rebellion of Barovia. And from that day, just as the castle Ravenloft floated into the sky, the bag's bounty ceased to run into the land of Barovia, and it has since been plagued with disease, plagued by monsters and fevers. Maybe roll a history check.
Okay.
And strange weather.
Not one.
Are you
So 3. I'm just like staring at him like, you're kind of the worst.
Yeah. Even with a 3, it doesn't sound like the people seemed happy to you.
Yeah.
His description of Barovia is pretty, like, other than he seems to be like a real Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
But Barovia was pretty bad from what you remember. So
Yeah.
you're yeah, that's all I can give you. God damn it.
So no, friend. I mean, you dislike Strahd, obviously. I mean, this is, but you do nothing
We're
to
all trying to
change.
kill him. Well, like I can't. I mean, obviously I chose right. That man didn't beat Strahd. Did he?
Yeah, I
Pretty
mean,
sure he's still around. I mean, I haven't seen him, but
yeah. I mean,
he's still alive.
listen, but you sit here and bitch and complain either way. So
Well, I'm supporting the resistance. Are you not?
do you
fed?
feel?
Are
I
you
look
not
at you.
drunk?
I look at his friends, be like, "Do you feel supported?"
Roll. Everybody roll a perception.
Mayvic doesn't understand humans. It's just like none of you make sense.
21
13.
again.
Woohoo!
13, 21.
7. I don't understand humans.
Crumple.
16.
Bastion, you're the only one who sees Esmeralda has a murderous look on her face. And is looking at Andrej. Everyone else, yeah, you just see people that are just kind of like, yeah, we're kind of just waiting for the right person. Like, he's making the point that, like, hey, Madame Ava told us eventually someone's going to come along. Maybe it's you. I don't know. When she tells me who it is, that's when I'll believe it. You just see you see pragmatism. You see a person that's jaded, that has seen countless number of people. He probably has 10 stories like that he can tell. Of people who came and said, and you've seen it, right? Now that you see Kruntel specifically, right? Atticus is as what's the word? As capable a wizard as you've ever seen. And he didn't even make it here.
Right.
So you see the pragmatism in this guy's voice, which is run, hide, and when it's time, we'll fight. But who the fuck are you to come into our camp and tell us we're not doing the resistance right? And that's kind of what you see on these people's faces.
Well, perhaps we can enjoy music together and food and drink in time as we wait.
Or woman, hobgoblin, whatever, it's all good.
Mavic is fine.
Mavic. Yeah. Look, if Madam Ava tells me, like, hey, Andrej, Mavic and her friends, they're gonna kill Strahd, then like, let's fucking go, you know. But
Oh. I am
so
saying
far,
no. I do not mean to. I do not mean to bring hostility. I'm saying let's have a drink. Let's eat some food and let's all enjoy each other's company as we wait.
all right, let's do that.
Maybe a nice game of cards.
Oh, my friend, now you speak in our language. Yeah, and you guys eat and drink as much as you want. From there, who's gonna be like drinking? Anybody?
Not Mavic.
Everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Any-
Not Gwendolyn.
100% Gruntle.
Go ahead and roll a Constitution check. Please.
Constitution check or saving throw?
Sorry, saving throw. Thank you.
7.
Oh no!
Gruntle, your little body.
Cruntle's a little crunk. Cruntle's a little buzzed. They're
Crunkle.
feeling good. Which means that unfortunately, you will be rolling. If you still want to play cards, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Roll a d10 for me at disadvantage.
A D10?
Yes.
I'll just do that with my die here because I don't know how to do it. 2.
Yeah, it's not a great hand. There's a 2 showing, and you have a pair. And yeah, there's a faith card, but like you're not super worried. So you keep gambling, and then another face card comes up.
Mm.
And you like somewhere deep in back, the coward version of Cruntle is saying, no, like we need to fold. But this bold and brave Cruntle is like, no, these fucking idiot yokels wouldn't know a good hand, and I'm gonna outbluff them. And then the ace pops up, and you are left with just a pair and 4 clubs.
Mm.
And as your opponent begins to show their cards, a different voice pops into your head. Because Cruntle isn't that drunk. The sober realization and the panic of losing what feels like way too much, but is really only about 4 gold in a pot. Cruntle thinks about the last time his hand was revealed unwillingly. You are taken back to the village of Forks, which is a farming town, an agricultural town at the fork of 2 rivers that go into one. And it is a fishing and agricultural hub that is used that Cruntle passed through. And being a hub of commerce, although the population is pretty low, and it's really made up of people, mostly a collection of out of town people who have farms along the river or fishing vessels that they use the nearby lake. The small collection of in town is what sort of facilitates and takes that raw product and either ships it out or meets merchants, and merchants come by. And it is there at the home of one of those merchants. It's a modest home. Has a shop downstairs, 2 bedrooms, a shared living space / kitchen. That is the home of Bromwell and Lydia Surefoot. And they are 2 halflings who took you in and allowed you to stay in their spare room. Because as much as the town is functional, like I said, it's very small, so there's not very many. There's only one like tavern and inn, and they offered you a better price. So you've been staying with them for a little while.
Nice.
Yeah, and so you've been in town for a little while. Just sort of, what have you been doing in town, Brunson?
Been mostly trying to sort of cement my position and get as much information from people as I can. Cruntle's at this point trying to figure out what he wants, and his way of doing that is to just seek out all of the information that he can and just sort of like as though he were an information broker. Just try to get all the tidbits from everybody so that he can sort of get a sense of his place in the world and where to go next. So he's
go ahead and roll an investigation check at advantage for me.
Investigation check with advantage, you said?
Yeah.
All right. Don't know why that didn't do it, but let's do it twice. 23.
Yeah. Okay. So you've uncovered a couple things in your just stolid observation, and this is like a thing you've done a few times before, right?
Yeah.
You've gone town to town. You've watched the comings and goings and the passings, and it's had a few different outcomes before. And this seems like a really optimal situation for you. So you found that. One of the other merchants, there's sort of, so the Surefoots run the fishing, the fish sort of trade around here. So the fishermen come with their raw loads, and the Surefoots have drivers that drive out to 3 or 4 different towns within a few hours' ride of Forks. And so the other major trade merchant are the ones who do the agriculture, right? So they have a little more. They have a couple of silos. It's a larger plot of land, so they hold some grain like in reserve, and they ship farther out sometimes, and they deal with other. More long distance travel and trade. And you've realized that, or what you've observed through your watching and investigation, is that they are skimming some off the top. That the local farmers are essentially like unionized and are like they profit share, and this other family is the ones who were essentially put in charge of that, and they're supposed to get a cut of all sales, and then it gets pushed out from the farmers, and it's sort of like everybody survives even if a certain crop doesn't do well in a season.
Okay. Yeah.
And they're skimming further off the top of that. They have you've noticed that people are coming at different times, and some really late at night with like very silenced, very quiet operation leaving. And so that's one area you think that you could either get a cut of or some blackmail. The other thing you've realized is that someone is that one of the sheriff's son is the one who's been responsible for a set of robberies. And that it's not even for necessity, it's just kind of like a youth rebelling kind of thing. So you also think that you could either A, take his stash, or B, blackmail the sheriff. But what the last thing that your investigation has come up with is that the sheriff thinks it's you. one responsible new person in town. Most obvious answer is usually the right answer. And you had this conversation. It's brought up, right? Bromwell, who's been pretty good to you, has just straight up asked you, like, hey, if it was you, just return the stuff to the sheriff's station and no questions asked. And he believed you when you told him it wasn't. So that's your, and then roll an insight check really quick to see, get a read on the sheriff. You could also roll that with advantage because we'll say you've been taking the time. You had a really good investigation.
Okay, 15.
Yeah, this is a straight shooter. He will not fall for blackmail. He'll lock his son up.
Mm.
So you could either take the son's. You think you could break? If you think you can break in, you can take the son's pool, and you know that there's like a few family heirloom rings, and there's a few things, of like great value of the few, because everybody that lives in forts is pretty well off, and it's just like it's all like heirlooms, or like I said, you can confront the people that are skimming off the top, but that has its own perils as well.
For sure. Yeah, so Kruntel is probably going to actually... So Kruntel's been sort of going about in disguise at this point because he's learned pretty quickly that people don't trust people from the Underdark very well. Yeah. So he is... as a friendly surface gnome friend of the Surefoots, actually going to go to the sheriff's son and advise him that the jig is up and he needs to stop.
Yeah, so you find Edward.
Mm.
Yeah,
at
the poorhouse, at the which is the name of the bar that's attached to the inn. Is the poorhouse. And he's playing cards. So, how do you want to approach this?
Playing cards. I'll deal myself in for a round there, and
Yeah. Sit down. Yeah. We need new blood. This game. That's what this game needs. New blood. What was your name again? You're the new guy in town, right?
It's Kruntel, pronounced with an untel.
Kruntel. Cool. Kruntel. So what do you get? Buy-ins 5 gold.
Search through my pouch.
I know it's a game, but
finally pulling up 5 gold and getting it in.
Oh wow. Okay, cool. Yeah, you had that. Cool. Yeah, and so roll for me D10. So what brings you to Forts, Kruntel? What you doing? What you just looking for some work? He's gonna settle down here? Pretty slim pickings, not a big gnome community.
Yeah, it's pretty far from home. I rolled an 8, by the way, but I do want to cheat.
Ooh, I love it. Roll a sleight of hand.
And that's a 30.
Somewhere in the future, Patience is just so impressed.
We lost David again.
Your roll was so impressive.
Did you say 30?
I did say 30.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Edward rolled a 4. So They think, oh, this sweet little gnome idiot is I'm gonna like take them for all their worth.
Oh yeah, and I'm stringing Edward along, letting him think that he's winning until I finally.
Yeah. So go ahead. Let me see. How do I want to do this? Yeah. Go ahead and roll. You could either do persuasion or deception, and we'll call that either you're trying to bluff him or convince him to bet more, right? So you're trying to like make him think he's got the right hand.
Fair enough. All right, I'll do deception. Ooh, bad roll, 7.
Okay, then you can roll a d6 and add it to your total.
4.
And what was your original roll?
8.
Okay, yeah, so you have a perfect hand, and you fully suckered him into believing it's sort of a reverse of the fortunes of what happened tonight, which is what brought you back here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's out. Money. He says next to you. Let me roll really quick. All right. Now, he says this to the table. I am temporarily out of gold, but I got some stuff that's worth a lot of gold. I can ante up. How do we feel about that?
What kind of stuff we talking about?
Some stuff. And then you hear there's 2 other older gentlemen there, and they're like, I don't want any part of that. I don't want your daddy coming down, knocking down my door because you gave up his family heirlooms. And then Edward kind of turns towards you and he's like, yeah, hey, I can show you what it is, and if you're interested, you can buy it.
Well, why don't you show me? I'm ready.
Cool. Let's go.
Ready for a look. Yeah.
So roll a stealth check for me real quick.
For sure. $21.
Perfect. Yeah, you and Edward sneak into the back entrance of a storage facility, what looks like a grain storage facility. And he takes you into his office, which is not much more than just like a stool and a desk with like a bunch of crap and what looks like just trash and shit. He's just like a young little scumbag. And he says, close that door.
All right.
And then he takes out from underneath like a false floorboard this little chest. And he's like, yeah, those guys don't really know what they're talking about. It's like none of this stuff is my dad's.
I know it's not.
Yeah, it's mine. So do you want...
And I know where it came from.
Yeah, I want it in other games.
Edward.
Oh, fuck, not again. Roll a perception check.
Natural 1.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you have no idea what he's talking about. What does that bring you to? Is it over a
5?
This kid's a rube. This kid's been rolled before. He's a sucker. He's like absolute. He thought he was gonna totally like roll you and get like a lot more from you. He thought he was gonna get a big score and get like 10 gold for all this stuff. So he's like, he's not just a rube, but he's like an idiot. And this is clearly like not the first time that a gambling debt or like something like this is like. He's just misread someone as dangerous. He's like, right. Please don't stab me or anything.
Oh no, I'm not going to stab you, Edward. I'm just going to tell you very nicely that it's time for you to stop what you're doing and return the stuff that you've stolen. Because
What?
if your father finds out, oh, you wouldn't want that, would you?
How am I gonna
You wouldn't
return?
want that.
Why don't
You
you just
wouldn't want that at all.
You can take it. Just take it and leave. I've done this before. It's cool. Just you take it, and then you're gonna disappear, and then it's all everybody's problems go away.
See, I like it here, Edward, and I want this to be a happy community, and you're making it not happy with your little tricks, your little escapades. And your father, well, I don't need to tell you how he would feel about this, do I?
Yeah, but I don't really want to do that. And with a 19, he takes a letter opener off the desk and tries to stab you.
Nice.
And does it 19 hits, right?
19 hits, yeah.
Okay. You take 7 points of damage.
Okay. So I get stabbed. All right. So at this point, Kruntel is was trying to be nice and probably forgets all about that and stabs him right the fuck back. So.
Oh.
Get wrecked, Edward Cullen.
Yeah, I said forks because it's a fork in the road, and you guys had to take it all Twilight in the chat. So lean into
We're
it.
in a vampire
Lean
campaign.
into it. I truly didn't make that connection.
You really didn't? What?
I don't think about the town from Twilight a lot, Bastion. It's not like on my
That's
radar.
not what you think about. It's not written in your diary on the cover. It's not.
No, I literally went to Fantasy Generator for like, it's like an agriculture town name. Forks is one
And
of
it
them.
came up with forks.
Fork in the road. Yeah, dude.
Mm,
It's like. Sorry, what would you roll?
it was pathetic. It was 9.
Okay. Yeah, and then so he rolls to stab you again. Another 19.
God damn it.
Jesus.
Got a good
Knife
hour
fight.
fast, but this motherfucker keeps going.
4.
Bring this guy to Barovia.
Actually, this time so the first one, you kind of like deflected a little bit,
Mm.
and he drove it like into your clavicle-ish area. And this time he went for your face, and it slid across your cheek.
Not the moneymaker.
And it's not it hurts. This letter opener is not exactly sharp, right? It like ripped your skin more than it sliced it.
Okay. Yeah, I think Krundel's kind of seeing red here, and he's going to pull out his dagger of venom and stab this motherfucker. Just like. Still rolling for shit. Got a 13.
That'll do it.
Yes.
Armor class 12.
He's just a guy. Hit him with your car.
For 10 damage.
And that will kill him.
Oh shit.
That's double his health pool. So the first one caught you by surprise, and you're upset. So upset that you miss on your first swipe.
Mhm.
And he uses that to his advantage and tries to go for like what maybe is your eye or something with the letter opener, and you just come out of the way, and he rips right through that skin. And with his arm overextended, in a more instinctual way than it was intentional, Kruntel slips like an uppercut to an overextended boxer and shoves that dagger straight through his chin and into his skull. And his body immediately.
Oh shit, 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 shit. 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 Okay, what's he got on him?
roll investigation check. You roll at advantage.
Oh, advantage? Okay. Let's do another roll then.
Yeah,
So you can take your time.
You got time. You got time, you think?
Still only got a 12.
You find like a crumpled up piece of parchment. You find like a bird skull. That looks like some sort of totem.
So he has a crumpled up piece of parchment and a bird skull?
Yeah, the bird skull looks like it's a talisman of some sort, like a lucky charm.
Okay.
What a psycho.
And the parchment is what languages do you speak?
I speak Common, Deep Speech, Gnomish, Thieves' Cant, and Undercommon.
Not halfling though, right?
No.
No, you can't read it. It's in a language you don't really recognize.
Well, what about the stuff that he was about to sell me?
There's like a few hundred gold worth of stuff. There's like a candelabra thing that looks like it's like a solid. You think it's from like the mayor's house? Like it looks like a piece of like stateware. Like it's the kind of like nice thing that only like governments and like officials have. There's like a few rings of varying worth. A really, really nice knife is in there too. It's like a emerald hilted dagger.
Ooh. Oh, that's tempting.
And you wonder for a second, why didn't he just try to stab you with the dagger? It
Right.
would have been more successful.
Instead of a letter opener. Yeah. Cruntle is very tempted to take that dagger, but I think he's actually going to leave it, and he's going to go back to the Surefoot, and he's going to, because he's still kind of naive. He thinks maybe he can tell the truth, and they'll believe him, and maybe it'll be okay. Maybe it'll be all right.
Yeah. You head back to Surefoot's. Bromwell is closing up shop for the day. It's like a small general store. It looks like he sells just to like the people on the road. So he's got things like rope. There's actually like a few spare wagon tires around back, and just like meal rations, that kind of thing. Things like a truck stop kind of deal. Think of it that. Kroltal. Well, I was just closing up. We were wondering where you're up to today.
Oh, yeah.
Lock up?
So I think you need to sit down. Something has happened, and
at this point, what was her name? Sorry, give me a second. Because it is Bromwell and Lydia comes down. She's like, Krutzel, I just got done making dinner and was going to tell Bromwell that he should have been closed up 15 minutes ago and we should be eating right now.
Yeah.
I know, honey. I'm almost done.
No, seriously though, we need to talk. Something bad has happened. I was attacked and I defended myself, but it went wrong. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. But he was attacking me.
What do you mean? Who was attacking
you? You know the sheriff's son, Edward, that fellow. Well, he's
Ramos bright boy.
Not so bright as it happens.
He's really turned his life around. He was it seems like he's turned the corner the last couple of years. He got that job.
No, he's been out stealing. He's been stealing from people, and I found out about it, and I tried to get him to stop, and he attacked me, and then I defended myself, and well, it went bad. It went really bad, and I'm sorry, and it's but maybe
persuasion check.
Okay. Oh god. 8.
I felt
Ron,
physical
you
pain
see
from
the
that.
look as you're explaining and as you go on, and as it's almost the oral equivalent of feeling a rope slip through each hand as you fall down a chasm. And
Wow.
each hand that misses that rope and grips just slightly and gives you that burn and gets to the end, and the end of that rope is Bromwell's face completely hardened. This is a sweet old man in your interactions, and you've always kind of wondered how he ran a business, and you see that negotiating face here now. And you see something. Roll a insight check.
19.
You see hatred in his eyes.
Oh shit.
You see heartbreak and distrust and 19 is close enough. You see heartbreak. And like I said, you see hatred. You see someone who thought, I thought I was doing the right thing and I should have trusted my instinct. And he doesn't believe a word you're saying, and he thinks you can surmise Cruntel's smart enough to know that he also heard the sheriff probably talked to him and said, hey, watch out, that guy you're housing is stealing stuff, I think, and I just need to find the proof. And now very conveniently you're saying that someone is the actual thief and you just happen to kill him. So it looks way too easy, way too simple. And then it softens for a second. He's like, it's okay, son. You just wait here, and I'm going to go get the sheriff. And with that insight check, you see 100% he wants you to stay here, and he's coming back with a mob, and they're not going to arrest you. Just stay right there. I will explain everything. I think I got enough juice in this town. And he runs away. Give me one. He runs out the door. And roll a perception check.
Oh, Jesus. 6.
I don't know. You hear the door lock. That's it. At this point, Lydia comes over. Okay. I know you didn't do it, son.
You know?
Yeah, Bromwell is a man. He's a good man. He's doing his best. The reason there's another bedroom upstairs, we had a son of our own who went much the way of the sheriff's son, except we thought his story ended sadder, but it seems their stories met similar ends. And
I'm so sorry.
I
I think I have to go. I think I have to go
think
now.
you do. But please don't let Bromwell wanted you to be. It's just too similar, you know? I know. And she gives you a big hug at this point, and she's like, one of you three needs to make it. Please be safe.
Yeah.
And as Cruntel heads upstairs and jumps out the back as the sun sets on Forks, you see the sight, the familiar haze of a group of torches marching towards, and hear the rattle of makeshift weapons, farm equipment, and the rabble of murder roaming in a group of people. as they march towards January. As once again, Quanta flees a town in the night at the end of a month. And with that, you wake up in the morning. 7 gold lighter. Does anybody else want to do anything, any conversations in the night?
Yeah, I have one that I'd like to do.
Sure.
Yeah. As the night kind of like gets later and people are starting to kind of settle in, I think Oddwood's going to join Slippy by the river and kind of sit next to them in a bit of a silence before rummaging around in his pack and pulling out what he's been tinkering on and messing with on the ride here and kind of for the night here, which is a little metal butterfly with the sapphire that he got from Patience kind of embedded on the body. It's a small butterfly, small sapphire, and he's fashioned it as a ring. He, with a moan of hesitation, kind of looks it over and looks over at Slippy and
Yeah, Slippy's at the edge of the river, and they're fletching arrows. They typically have 3 to 5 arrows for a show that's used for just like trick purposes. But these seem a little more barbed, a little more sturdy.
yeah,
With better fletching. That's what she's doing. So.
more weapon, less show.
Oh, hello, love.
Hey, well, I've been thinking about this for a little bit, and this isn't a good time. I recognize that. I want you to know that I recognize this is not a good time. It's just, I almost lost you. And that scared me more than I think I've ever been scared before. And then immediately afterwards, essentially, we ran into a group of werewolves that could have rent our party asunder with...
Oh, they wouldn't have done. They just wanted some gold. Patience was going to give it up.
Yeah.
We also have a little bit. You're totally fine. Honestly, he really underasked what he could have gotten.
Yeah.
Also, we could just run. I mean, I guess they were wolves, so maybe...
I think that the wolves as big as our horses probably could have caught up.
Yeah, it's a good call. I've never really... Dire wolves are like a whole other thing. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I just wanted... I wanted to make sure that you knew how much I cared about you and for you. And I know we're probably going to be fine, but in case we aren't, I wanted you to have this. And I'm going to offer the ring, which is also a homunculus. The little butterfly can detach and fly around and do fancy artificer things.
Pretty cool. Okay. Roll a perception check.
A perception check.
Or sorry, insight. Insight.
Insight check. Not nearly so bad. I'm going to lucky that nat 1 here real quick.
Do it. That's 2.
That's 2.
So sleep.
A nat 20!
Yeah.
What?
There is Plasmoid, again, notoriously hard to read, right? They do not have features. They're can barely be qualified as humanoid. You see, though, and you've been around Slippy enough that you recognize, again, a lot of Slippy's emotions are conveyed through these color shifts. And you see a few different shades as this ring comes up. And as much as there is joy, and like a little bit of sadness that there always is with like this kind of emotional thing, right? Not the like, oh my god, I can't believe he did this, but it's like, I will never be this happy again, so like I'm a little sad about that kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Melancholy.
Yeah. But you see something that you also didn't expect to see, and it's a shade you've very rarely seen in its fields, which is represented as like purplish, but it's a very opposite to Slippy's normal. You see it almost as like a cloud going through, sort of like a live action impressionist painting. That's what we'll describe it as, right? It's like a piece of purple that comes, is bright, and then is moved away and dispersed into other colors that represent emotions you're used to. And Slippy says, "Oh, good. I do not deserve you, and I would refuse this gift if I knew the effort wasn't futile. Thank you so much. I have contemplated many of the same things as you over the last 24 hours or so.
It's been a wild 24 hours.
Truly wild. And you have this way about you. It's so unexpected. I found in my time with you that there's so much more to see and know and love than I ever could have anticipated. And I must now pray for your forgiveness, because I have not been as honest or forthcoming as I should have. And you deserve more of me, as I have seen so much of you. And you've opened yourself up so unabashedly to me, and I have held so much in reserve. And I want you to know that stops now. And it's almost too much for tonight, but we will start tonight. Because however much time we have left, I want to reflect the vulnerability and the openness you have shown, and show you the love that you deserve and have been neglected.
Oddwood takes Slippy's hand and looks them in the eye.
They're still fletching the arrow. They stick out that third.
The third proboscis. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have trusted me when no one else did. You have understood more about me than others are willing to. To others, I'm a punching bag, and I'm okay with that. There are not many sources of joy here in the mists, and if I can bring a little bit of joy through that, that's fine. But you recognized more from me and took a chance with our act and with trusting me about your knowledge of Strahd and Madame Ava, people have secrets. People have things that they want to keep private. I respect that. I know that there are things that you don't want to talk about. There are things that I don't want to talk about sometimes. But together, we are stronger. And more importantly, together, we can find a little bit of that joy that is so scarce here in the mists. I have no one else that I would rather be partners with.
At this point, they put down the arrow, and you see that, like, again, a plasmoid doesn't necessarily cry, but you see that, like,
That emotion.
geyser of emotion as the colors sort of explode, and they bring you close and kiss you. The slimy appendage. And as we fade to black on that riverside, Mavic, what does your evening look like?
I think that Mavic spends the evening at a distance, slightly removed, especially after being reminded over and over and over and over again that they are a hobgoblin. Sitting back and watching, and just kind of a little bit like watching a nature documentary at this point. Just like,
Yeah. You
It's
see
weird.
a lot of dancing. It gets a little weird at night. You see like a dance that involves a hat thrown on the floor. There's a few different games of gambling. You are keeping a particular eye because Patience is sort of locked up in the tent, we'll say, doing her own thing. And you're keeping a close eye on Gruntle. You haven't seen Oddwood and Slippy for a while. Esmeralda's sitting seemingly, what's the word, like sulking, I guess. Just kind of nursing a bottle. And everybody that's not on watch, or some of the other people went to sleep. They went relieved. The guys that were eating earlier relieved, and 2 other guards came and went to sleep. Yeah, and you see Gruntle lose a bunch of gold. He wins some back, and then he loses a little bit more. So you think he's like probably fine. And eventually you just kind of like shuffle him off into the tent, realizing that things might turn bad if you don't get him away from the group in a little bit. Yeah, and then things just kind of quiet down, and eventually it's just a different guy clearly playing the lute of somebody like is like a new person. So they're playing like a Taylor Swift song, repeated, but like just the first 4 chords. You belong with me, like over and over, but like bad.
This is very weird. I think as Babik like shuffles Gruntle off to bed, I think that she just has her hand on his back and uses protection from poison to save him from a shitty hangover in the morning.
Yeah, and as Mavic
Fred
fades into sleep, you are once again visited in your dreams by... in your dreams, you are at a different body of water. And it's that same body of water. This time, it's almost like you skipped ahead in the dream. And this time, instead of having gone through the woods and sort of had those, your clothes and vegetables of society fall off, you're already full. You feel the power coursing through you. And there's that body of water. What do you do?
So I just run right at it, and I just kind of crouch at the side, and I actually like swipe at the reflection in the water.
The reflection you swipe at shouts back, "What do you think you're doing, soldier?" And it's your friend Drawbuck. But the voice came from behind you. Do you turn around?
I whip around, snarling.
There he is, standing in all his 5'5" height, in his dress uniform with his all the regalia. You should be disgusted with yourself. I thought I could taught you. Look at you. Just another monster. Just another sad reflection of what the world thinks you are.
She goes. She's
Goes
pissed.
to attack him?
She goes to attack him.
You run and you run back into the forest. You run until you can't breathe, until it burns, until the cold air of this crisp fall winter night burns your lungs, and the fur that has grown out longer than usual is matted and sweaty, and there's drool and snarl and snot dripping from your jaw, and your claws are digging into the grass as you're trying to practically extricate the oxygen from the atmosphere to cool your burning muscles. And just as you gain control of your breath, in your ear, Dralvik whispers, "You can't outrun your problems, you fool." What do you think brought you
I
here?
can't fix it if you
can't
won't
fix
explain it.
Oh, do I need... I thought I was dealing with Maven, the wise. Not another fool, bloodthirsty fool attempting to seek honor. Someone who saw through me. You can't fix it if you don't try.
I am trying.
Trying
I'm
what?
trying.
Trying to hide your nature? Trying to hide your past? You can't be honest with that poor boy because you cannot be honest with yourself because you are a coward.
I am not a coward. I am trying to fix it. I'm trying to make up for it.
When faced with a confrontation at the river, you just ran. Seems like a coward to me.
You know nothing. You don't understand anything.
I know what you
And she turns and she knows she can't. She just walks. This is just a disembodied voice, but she's beyond frustrated.
And the voice just says, "Run. Run away, and maybe this time your legs will carry you away from me."
Stop talking, old man. You don't know anything, and you speak of nothing.
And as you're running, you hear Drelvin taunting you. You feel a feeling that feels like moonlight, that feels like starlight, that feels like comfort, but it's cold and distant. And it is a feeling that says he's right. You need to face this. And this time, as you turn around, or as you stop and close your eyes and embrace that feeling, when you open them, this time you see a reflection of your monstrous self. And when you opened your eyes, you are smaller. And you are back to your normal Mavic size. And the large, monstrous version is menacing.
don't know what I am supposed to do with this. What do you ask of me?
Roll a religion check with advantage.
Not good. 11.
That's good enough. You hear, "If you cannot do it alone, rely on me."
I do.
And
I
at
will.
this moment, your monstrous reflection attacks you. What does Maven do?
I think
roll an insight
Yeah.
check to see what your god needs.
Okay. Oh, that is a 24.
Perfect. You know exactly what you need to do, and that is to channel divinity.
Okay. Anything in particular?
Turn on.
I've got to turn undead. All right. Yeah. So.
Or sorry, actually, yeah. You have forgot you have Twilight Sanctuary. So Twilight Sanctuary.
Twilight Sanctuary. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So, I close my eyes, and I just kind of accept that I'm not going to attack, and I take my crudely made symbol that I've hand stitched myself. Which, does it still not look the same, or did that end with ink?
It lasts a while. Let me see how long it lasts.
I was gonna say I think it lasts a full day, like a full long rest, right?
It lasts. Or it does not have an end time. I can affect a maximum of 4 objects at a time. So it's gonna.
Yeah, and you essentially choose in the morning. Like that's usually
Okay.
the way I've.
So that's infusions. That's different than magical
Okay.
tinkering. Magical tinkering is small, not super beneficial effects.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
I think I still hold it though. I know it's there, even if it's kind of interesting
in
that
this
it's shrouded.
dream, it is your
Still. Okay,
usual.
so it's this hand crudely sewn symbol, and just from me, this 30-foot sphere of just twinkling twilight surrounds me, and it's just this dim twilight light surrounding me, and I just close my eyes, and I give myself to the far wonder.
As that blue star moonlight cross sort of envelops this Twilight Sanctuary, this 10-foot diameter. Instead of clawing into you, this nightmare monster version of you that you've been suppressing and hiding and rejecting and attempting to repress, as you stand there and embrace this side of Mavic, this monstrous reflection is absorbed into you. And in this moment, you feel a sense of calm and peace, but also an undercurrent of danger and power. And that is where we will leave off for this evening, as you wake up with this new sense of control of your dark gift. Krunzel, go ahead and roll really quick as we finish a Constitution check at disadvantage.
He's not poisoned though. He's not hungover. Is he still at disadvantage?
Hey, spells, or I guess you could just roll it then.
Okay.
Well, I'll let that cancel the disadvantage.
12.
Damn it. You guys, instead of waking up to Krunzel throwing up, you just wake up to a bit of a dry heave sound in the tent with you. And that's where we'll leave off for next week. So thank you all for sticking around. Here at Streaming Rainbow to continue our Strahd story, and come back next week to find out if Madame Ava sees our homies. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye guys.
Subscribe. Click all the links.
Do the links.
Please. Discord.
Courtney, shout out your at.
Oh, Courtney interrupted _art on Instagram.
Yeah, art. Bastion is
Bastion in the AM on Twitch is where you'll find me for the
watch this
most part.
man play video games.
Check him out. He's amazing.
He
Bye-bye.
really is. Okay. We love you. Bye.